Do you know a wrestler who keeps trying to cut weight because they're trying to get themselves into the unrealistic bracket? Do you have little kids that you think should be losing weight just because that's what you heard from somebody else? This episode is for you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Illinois Girls Wrestling Podcast, the show that strives to create a supportive community for Illinois girls wrestling through storytelling and expert insights so that athletes, coaches, and families feel connected and empowered. Can this podcast be helpful for boys? Absolutely. We are sharing a lot of great information about wrestling that boys can benefit from. However, we also wanted to create a place that the girls and their families can go to and call their own. Last week, we started our conversation with a guest expert, and today we're going to bring him back and finish this conversation. However, if you did not hear the episode before, go back and start listening there first, and then come back to this conversation. Back in the studio today with us is our guest expert coach, David Tortorici, who has been a part of sport community for over 25 years, 20 years as a competitive athlete. He was a 4-year starter at the University of Wisconsin, Whitewater, where he was an NCAA qualifier, a 2-time academic All-American, and a team captain competing at 141 and 149 pounds. He has a degree in psychology with minor in coaching, and he also has a sports nutrition certification from NASM. In 2023, Devin was nominated for Female Coach of the Year and helped to lead Lakes High School to the first ever IHSA Girls State title. Today, he channels his experience and passion into Team Tortorici, the training program where he primarily concentrates on high school wrestlers out of Crystal Lake. Welcome back to the studio, Devin.
Thank you for having me. Love being here.
I can talk more about mental health and just overall relationship with food. What advice do you have for parents who want to encourage their kids to, encourage healthy habits without, really talking about weights and scales and pounds?
That's a good question. Food is fuel. That is the simplest, most realistic and positive way to look at it. You can't go anywhere in a car without gas. So, why would you expect us to go anywhere without our fuel? So you have to have it pretty much always. It's very rare that you should be cutting out food entirely. Even, when I competed, I had food the day before, the morning of, if it allowed it. That's just how I operated. It worked very well. So, and then the positive avenues that you got to look at that is, okay, it's not that you're not going to make weight. You'll make weight. You just, and when you got to find gratitude in the hard parts of it, it's like, okay, I have to eat and then I got to go work out. And I eat and then I got to work out. And it does get repetitive, but I think parents and athletes working together and finding, gratitude in even the tough parts goes a really long way. Instead of, oh my God, I have to go do this, it's, I get to do this. I'm glad I get to do this. There's people who, they don't have a choice. There's countries that they don't get these options. There's families that can't even afford to join or all these different things. So that even in the hard times, be grateful that you get to do it.
So it's a tournament day. What are your tips for just overall, be ready to go? So I have some questions. So if you could narrow it down to 3 rules for the tournament day nutrition, what would that be?
Yeah, the three rules. One, this is going to sound silly, but it was our mantra in college. It's called nibble, nibble, sip, sip. So you don't want to shove food in your face and water in your face. I know you're hungry. I know you're thirsty, but you got to fuel for performance, not for pleasure. So rule 1 is nibble, nibble, sip, sip. Rule 2 is, good foods. Not what makes you feel good as far as emotionally, but physically. So we got to hit the good sugar, the good carbs, the good, all good nutrient dense. That's the best. So nutrient dense. And then lastly is hydrate. You got to hydrate. You got to get water. You got to get some sodium, salt, all that stuff. So I was always a big fan of Pedialyte, anything of that nature. So it's nibble, nibble, sip, sip, good nutrition, and then hydrate.
And if you have multiple matches on the same day, what would you suggest? How do you encourage the good pattern of eating between matches?
Yeah, and this one can be tricky because everyone's a little different. But the generalized rule is, after your initial weigh-ins, you follow those 3 rules. You get your first match, and your second match, you always want to have some sort of liquids after your matches, even if it's not a ton, a little bit, something, because you are sweating. You do need to get that back in you. You are exerting energy, and then little snacks are good too. Depending how long the tournament is, protein's probably not a terrible option. It's a little bit slower to digest, so don't go crazy on it. But protein's not bad for long days. And then again, carbs are pretty much really good on competition day. Carbs, maybe some fats, because you need that quick energy.
Mm-hmm. And so when it comes to hydration, water, energy drink, or Pedialyte?
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely I'm going to say Pedialyte's probably the best. And caffeine is tricky because I don't want people to crash. So you got to kind of time the caffeine. I think caffeine's a really great tool. And I also think there's a certain amount that's good and not good. Straight energy drinks, Monster, probably not. But there are some supplementations out there where, it provides good caffeine and good BCAAs, brain chain amino acids, that I think would be really beneficial at about 100 to 200 milligrams, probably towards the last 2 matches of your day if you anticipate that.
Mm-hmm. And how about recovery?
Yeah, recovery. So are you talking in between matches or are you talking?
Let's say after the matches. Let's say this is, the end of the tournament, you're done.
Yeah. So, and I'll take it even a step further. One of the big things during the tournament is just don't sit around too long. So that don't let your body get too stiff. Make sure you're moving. And then after the tournament's all said and done, I was just a really big fan of, take a hot bath after a tournament, maybe a long, warm shower, not hot. It's not great for the skin, but yeah, I think that's a really good beneficial way. There's so many different. Stretching is good. High protein is good. Those like little Theraguns, if you're familiar with that, it's like the massage guns. Those are pretty good too. There's a lot of different avenues to recover. But the big takeaway is do something. Do something. Don't just go home and go to bed.
Would you encourage your athletes to have a big meal after tournaments?
Kind of depends on what the schedule, if they've got a lot of time, absolutely. If they don't compete for another, week or 2, get a large meal in. Good nutrition, feel good, a little bit of rewarding is good. Now don't be a glutton and go get 3 milkshakes, but you can enjoy some food. Absolutely.
So for somebody, I know some families like to celebrate and go out after tournaments, and I know some groups of families that like to eat together. So what do you think an athlete should be eating so he does not completely throw their weight out the window? And
Yep. So there is, my philosophy was always one, absolutely no pop, like ever. I mean, I think soda, it should be none ever. Pretty much everybody. So no soda. It is just sugar, empty calories. And I'm not saying you can't enjoy something, but that one is just pretty brutal. So avoid soda. If you want to reward yourself, give yourself a sweet treat. Go get whatever it is. For me, it's I like bread pudding. Like if I could have that all the time, I would. I like the cinnamony, sugary. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But don't make that your entire meal. I would say chicken, lean protein, really good. Steak is good. You want to hit protein and carbs. Protein, carbs afterwards. And then if you want to treat yourself to a sugary treat, do it. I would avoid the soda though.
And just have your dessert at the end of the meal.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
What are your thoughts about the cheat day?
Cheat days, I have very mixed feelings. So the problem with cheat days and why I like a cheat snack or a meal better is what I have found is cheat days, people, they go way overboard. They'll just, they engorge. And I think it develops bad habits, bad behaviors with food, where 6 days of the week is punishment, and then one day is just go nuts. Where instead, I think a little treat every day is way better, and it's going to go not as far either. Where it develops high caloric intake and bad behaviors. So cheat meal or cheat snack versus cheat day.
Let's talk about working with professionals and creating a plan. When should a family consider working with somebody like you, a sports dietitian, sports medical profession, and work on nutrition and weight?
Yeah. So first, I want to specify the differences because there's actually a legality behind it. So I am a sports nutrition coach. I did have to go to a small amount of school, but not like a degree program, right? I'm a sports nutritionist. I did do education. I went through courses and all this stuff. A sports dietitian is a bachelor's degree where often they have to go through 4 years of school, and they have some medical background. So those are the two different distinctions. Now, when to seek those is basically if there's health adversities, if you're doing everything on paper that, should be working, right? Where you're like, okay, I'm at a caloric deficit, I'm hydrating, I'm training, blah, 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 all these different things, and it's still not working, then it's a good time to probably seek out some professional advice. And or if there are negative health things that are going on, the kidney problems, or, if a kid passes out, God forbid, things like that are kind of alarming. That's when I would say, go seek those options out.
Mm-hmm. So if I just have a kid who I want to be at, as a parent, I'm trying to educate myself how to feed my child better to make sure that she performs at the lower weight potentially. And it just sounds like a lot of learning.
There is, honestly, that there is. I would say, always talking to somebody who's been in the game a while helps.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say it's really hard to take out bad information. We have information that's galore, correct? And taking away the bad information, I would say more of the battle than even finding good information. If you want to take away really easy good points, and you'll probably hear this a million times, it's just high protein, water is cut out last, and carbs when you're fueling to practice. That's the best way to do it.
For somebody who is a parent of, let's say, a high schooler trying to stick with the brackets, and they don't quite have the time to do the proper education, would they reach out to somebody like you and say, hey, can you help me out?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of people. And so you could probably seek out many different options. Now, I would venture to say, because wrestling is very specific, it's a weight cutting sport. You want to find somebody that deals with weight cutting, not just somebody who, deals with generalized nutrition or even dietitians. I think we are in a unique avenue where you got to kind of understand the weight cutting aspect and competing 2 hours after you weigh in, heck, an hour sometimes. But yeah, as far as me personally, yeah, absolutely. And I venture to say, after about a month, I would hope if you're really disciplined, a month of monitoring, you can kind of take it away yourself. And that's if you're a disciplined person. Otherwise, I typically would see about 3 months. Don't ever want forever clients, just people that, help them get on their feet, learn the behaviors, the habits, and then go on and move forward.
So how do you work with the families? You're trying to get a baseline of what they're already doing right and what they're doing wrong, and where do you go from there?
Yeah, definitely. So how I typically do it is my first thing is always record what you're eating. I always tell people typically to download like there's this app called MyFitnessPal. It's really easy. I think it's a simple way to get your calories measured, your macros measured, and I tell them don't change a thing. If you're eating 4,000 calories, you're eating 4,000 calories, no problem. But I just have to measure what's your intake, what's your goal, and then the time frame, and then we measure. I do some calculations and go, okay, this is where you got to be. This is what we're going to feed you. Timeline. That's kind of the generalized answer: is learning your habits, behaviors, how to adjust them within that time frame.
All right. And for any parent who's listening us today, if they could change one habit a week for a wrestler, what do you suggest they pick?
Yeah. Ooh, I had to change one thing this week. That is a good question. I'm going to have to go with, and it sounds silly because it's not specifically nutrition, but it does deal with cutting weight, is focus on training, not the weight cut. Focus on training, not the weight cut. That is my takeaway for the most part. The weight will take care of itself, with a little bit of tweaking, but don't ever. The sport is wrestling, not weight cutting, right?
Okay, well, lads, we have a few fun questions. Best pre-practice snacks.
Ooh, all right. This one's a guilty pleasure, and it does cross a lot of the things. Rice Krispie treat. Rice Krispie treat. It's it's high sugar. It's carbs. You're ready to go. It's a really good form of quick energy.
Most overrated wrestling food that you see on social media.
Oh gosh, overrated. I don't know if I have one specifically. I kind of touched on it earlier. Anything that's gimmicky, anything that's just like this. Oh, it's the perfect snack, and it's going to do this because there's just no such thing. I'll say this: I think the most underrated is peanut butter jelly. I think peanut butter jelly is the go-to.
Uh-huh. As of what? Is it before, after, and between?
After weigh-ins, yeah,
After weigh-ins.
it's again, it hits the whole trifecta. You got carbs, you got some good sugars, you got some not super high protein. I think peanut butter jelly, that was my go-to.
Okay. How about one phrase you'd love every wrestler to repeat to themselves before stepping on a scale?
I think it would encompass your whole journey of training. So probably something in the names of it's the journey, not the destination.
Mhm.
That's something of that nature.
I know you have wrestlers that you train that are now in college,
Yep.
and you have wrestlers that are still wrestling in high school. You are coaching club. Are you coaching high school or club right now?
Yeah. So right now I'm in the high school season. I coach out of Richmond Burton High School.
Mhm.
And, then I got my own team, Team Tortorici,
Yes.
which I pretty much primarily emphasis on high school athletes.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about some of your goals and where the goals that you had for a few years that had some success and where they are at right now.
Yeah. So, there's three girls that pretty quickly pop in my mind. And again, this is where I was very fortunate. One girl right now, she stopped wrestling, but she was really, really good in high school. Her name was Ava Babs. She's the head coach of Lakes High School now for the girls.
Mhm.
After I left, she took third twice in high school, was one of the most natural athletes I ever, came across. And she started as a sophomore in high school.
Mhm.
So, to take third, it was twice was incredible. I had a girl, Olivia Heft. She was a three-time state placer, a one-time runner-up in high school. She is out of Grand Valley. I think she's at Grand Valley University, which is a pretty dang, I think they're ranked top 5 in the country right now, something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a few like GVUs, and I'm kind of I think their colors are like blue and
Mhm.
black.
Mhm.
And then I got this girl, Josephine Larson, Josie, we call her, or I call her JoJo. She is at Sacred Heart, and she is one of my major success stories. She, was a state champ her senior year. She placed in states 3 times, took 5th, 2nd, 1st. She was a 2-time Fargo All-American. She was a Super 32 champion. She was ranked 1st in the country in high school. She is, now she's ranked top 10 in college as a freshman. And she is just, again, she started as a freshman in high school and just doing an absolutely phenomenal job. So super, super proud of her.
Yeah, this is very cool considering how much the girls can accomplish just starting out in high school. And Josephine, it seems like a phenomenal example of how far you can go in just short 4 years.
Yeah, she is. I can't speak highly enough of her and her family. Her parents are absolutely wonderful people. But all I can say to them is this girl did, I would describe it pretty much everything right. She competed a lot. She didn't get hard on herself. She weight trained. She was on her nutrition. She trusted the process. Really, really trusted me and then, what to do.
So if you wanted to, let's say you have a brand new girl in front of you who is considering wrestling, how would you say be like JoJo without saying that?
Yeah. So she became a great athlete, or it became a great wrestler, but it didn't necessarily start that way. Like anybody, she had her rough spots and was learning. And I think the big change for her, and this is what I would tell all the athletes, the young girls that I would work with, is I don't want to hear the I can't, I don't want to. It's I'll try.
Mhm.
And Josie really started to do that, after her sophomore year. Where she would there's a few times she was emotional and crying and fight me and I don't wanna, I can't, blah blah. And I said, what is this? Just say I'll try. If it doesn't work, that's okay. And from there on out, she really had an open mind, always tried something, and man, did that really excel.
Okay. So for a brand new girl, you would say just give it a try, trust the process.
Anything worth having is worth fighting for.
Mhm.
So you gotta kind of stick it out a little bit.
Well, that was a fantastic interview. Thank you so much for coming out and sharing all your wisdom.
No, thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope we can reach a few people, maybe change some lives, change some opinions, and that's the goal.
Hopefully. And where can our listeners find you?
I pretty much put my information everywhere. So, Facebook, my website, Team Tortorici, and then my side business, NGU, Nutrition and Fitness. You can kind of find me all around. I have my email and my phone number pretty much posted online everywhere.
Okay. And we'll include it with the notes. And again, you are training primarily high school kids out of where?
Out of Crystal Lake. Very fortunate that the Crystal Lake Wizards actually let me use their facility. So if you know where the Crystal Lake Wizards facility is, that's where we bring our athletes.
Thank you so much. And we hope, to have you on the show again in the future.
Thank you.
What an informative interview. I made a lot of notes. I think I'm going back and I'm looking at it again right after I'm finished editing this episode. But let's recap a few things. Fuel first. Wrestlers are not models, they are power athletes. If the weight loss is needed, it should be slow, supervised, and safe. Watch for the red flags like fatigue, injuries, and period changes. Think in seasons and years and not just in tomorrow weigh-ins. If you found this helpful, please share this episode with another wrestling family or coach. And if you have any questions about nutrition or weight management, contact Devin. He will be happy to answer your questions. Have questions about wrestling, send them our way. We'll be happy to tackle them in one of our upcoming Q&A episodes. And thank you for tuning into today's episode. If you enjoyed the discussion, please make sure to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Have a question or topic you want us to cover? Drop us a message on social media or email us at ilgirlswrestling@gmail.com. Until next time.